Although his father was killed by Nazis, it was a chilling black and white photograph that forever changed Peter Fischl's life. Growing up in Budapest, Hungary during the Holocaust, Fischl spent his childhood in hiding. He was 14 when his father was killed. Today, the effect of the experience can be seen in Fischl's poetry about the Holocaust, which hangs in museums around the world.
Dear Peter, I am so grateful that you have shared your book, the video, and the CD-ROMs with me. The whole package shows why you have had such an important influence on the young people with whom you have spoken. What moved and impressed me the most were your autobiography and your poem. I am certain, since these two pieces speak through the voice of a child and young adolescent, that students not only learn about the Holocaust, but even more important, life lessons that will become part of their own moral imagination. Each paragraph of your autobiography focuses on a lesson that you learned as a young boy that helped you survive the horrors of the Holocaust. The attitude of never giving up, the belief that injustice requires not only sympathy, but action, the attitude of thankfulness towards those who helped you and your family, the belief that one can be a helpful person oneself, and the emphasis on taking responsibility for your own life and your own fate, no matter what. These are all lessons that young people need to learn, and which they learn best through the stories and examples of people like yourself who care enough to share their experiences and to encourage youngsters to keep trying. The child psychologist Robert Cole wrote an essay about a young girl named Ruby who integrated an all-white school in the 1950s. He was very interested in why she was willing, and especially how she was able to tolerate the abusiveness of white people opposed to her presence in the new school. She replied that the stories of courage in her family, passed along by her grandparents and parents, sustained her the most. I think your story, and especially the way you tell it, encourages students to transcend their helplessness as victims and to have the courage to act on their own behalf and that of others. In the end, I believe, these stories are essential to building a social foundation that upholds the dignity of all people, regardless of differences in religion, ethnicity, gender, or nationality. I was also impressed by your explanation of how your poem about the little Polish boy helped you to acknowledge and come to terms with your grief about your father and your lost childhood. Because so many families treat death as something from which to shield children, many of us do not learn how to grieve, and especially how to recover from truly profound grief. Your poem and the story behind it must surely make an indelible impression on youngsters, especially those who are already suffering from the loss of a loved one or a safe home. Thank you so very much for the unexpected opportunity to get to know you and your powerful story. With warmest regards, Rosanna M. Gatens, Ph.D., Director, Holocaust Outreach Center, Florida Atlantic University. Dear Mr. Fischl, I am pleased to inform you that Nancy Gorell's essay, which teaches ekphrastic poetry through your poem, To the Little Polish Boy Standing with His Arms Up, will be published in an edited collection by the National Council of Teachers of English. The collection, entitled A Curriculum of Peace, is edited by Virginia Monceau and will be released in 2004. We gratefully acknowledge your contribution to our effort through your powerful and moving poem about the Holocaust. Sincerely, Zorina M. Hawk, Ph.D., Director of Book Publications and Senior Editor, National Council of Teachers of English.
Peter Fischl drew his inspiration for his poem, To the Little Polish Boy Standing with His Arms Up, from the photograph which appeared in the October 1965 issue of Life magazine with the caption, Roundup of Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto, 1943. The picture brought back all the memories of hiding, all the nightmares and horror. For many of those involved, the 76-year-old rail car was the first place of death during the Holocaust. The bare freight car often became a suffocation chamber for some of the people, 100 or more at a time, who were squeezed into it. Those who survived the trip had to endure the journey under conditions of hunger and thirst, extreme overcrowding, and horrible sanitation. Frequently, the trains halted for hours or days at a time on side tracks or in stations along the way. Many of those deported, especially the elderly and children, died during the journey. This 15-ton freight car came to its present location from Gdynia, Poland, after more than a year of painstaking negotiations by Walter Lobenberg, founder of the Holocaust Memorial Museum and Educational Center. "It is nearly impossible," said Lobenberg, who lost 4 uncles and 2 aunts in the Holocaust. "The Polish government did not want these cars to come out, but with the help of some dedicated people, we were able to bring the car to Florida. The rail car rests on original tracks from the Treblinka killing center. Exactly how many Jews and other prisoners perished in cars like number 1130695-5 will forever remain a mystery. This relic of horrors past must never be allowed to fade from our memory. Today this car stands in silent tribute to those who perished in the Holocaust."
Dear Mr. Fischl, I was able to watch the tapes you sent and read the materials. I can tell you that I had tears in my eyes much of the time. I have spoken to many Holocaust survivors and been moved by their words, but your story is unique and so well presented. The expression of your feelings and thoughts makes this historical event real and unforgettable. It helps the reader and viewer share the experience. As a teacher of literature for some 40 years, I know the power of fine writing to move and change those who experience it. I thank you for the expression of your experience, an expression that can change the way people think about the Holocaust and the issues that arise from it. I have contact with other schools, and I am going to propose the use of these materials to teach the Holocaust and related studies. I am enclosing a copy of my play, I Never Saw Another Butterfly, and a copy of No Fading Stars, and articles that will give you some background on the history of the play. Thank you again for the generous sharing of your experience in so excellent a form. It is important to keep the history of the Holocaust alive so that future generations will know that it did happen and that it must not happen again. Sincerely, Celeste R. Responti, Ph.D.
Dear Peter, just a brief note to tell how handsome your collection with the portraits of Elie Wiesel and you in the center looks in our classroom. The works add to what I have called environmental art, that which always surrounds the visitor wherever he or she may be in the building and whatever they may be doing. The picture of the little boy above your poem, as well as the picture of the children's shoes, are a poignant reminder of the impact of the Holocaust on society. Thank you for being part of our museum and for having been part of us since we opened here in downtown St. Petersburg. Sincerely, Stephen M. Goldman, Museum Director, Florida Holocaust Museum, St. Petersburg, Florida. The genius of Peter's poem is that it takes a photograph meant as a birthday gift for Hitler and transforms it into an instrument for teaching peace and tolerance. Mark Usler, award-winning writer.